Hey guys, so today I thought I'd bring you some more gameplay footage of Cyber Dragons with commentary, since the last one seemed pretty popular. And I'll be showing you 3 replays going against Invoke Dogmatica Eldritch, Dogmatica Generators, and Endymion Pendulums. And so if you want to see more videos like this, then consider subscribing, because we're really close to 100 subscribers as I approach my first month of YouTube, so let's make that happen. Now, before I bring the replays, I just wanted to do a quick deck profile update, which has changed since my last deck profile video, and this reflects my deck in real life. Now, basically, I'm back to playing the Gamma package, and also have a couple Forbidden Droplets in there. I also added the Mechaba in the extra deck because of the Dogmatica matchups, but because we play Nova anyways, and we often get Nibiru'd on the Nova, and in cases where bringing out Rampage may not make much sense, Mechaba can be another good option. And while I could technically just run over the Mechaba with Nibiru, it can sometimes force your opponent to use up their battle phase just to get over it because they can't risk having any of their monster effects negated, so it's still pretty good. And I would say the only thing that makes me slightly uncomfortable with this build is that I only have 1 overflow, whereas I've always had 2 combined in the main and the side, but it's been good so far, and once Dragoon comes out and I shuffle my deck list again, I may have 2 again. So let's move on to the replays. Okay, so on to the first replay against Invoke Dogmatica Eldritch. Although I'm going to be honest with you, you're not really going to see much of the Dogmatica part because it kind of gets negated, but it's still a pretty good matchup nonetheless. So opponent is going to start with the Magical Meltdown and get the Alistair to hand, and we are going to Gamma on the Alistair and hope that it ends their turn. And it looks like they don't have much of a play afterwards, so they just set 3 and pass, but that's still pretty intimidating. So we're going to lead off with the core, and it gets met with an imperm, but it's okay because we did hard draw the soldier and have enough lights to get into Nova Infinity play, except it does get Veilered, so I guess there goes that. So we opt to go for Anaconda to try to bring out Rampage and pop the back row, but of course he has the Scarlet Sanguine and the Conquistador to pop the Anaconda. So that pretty much ends our turn, and our opponent has a crazy top deck with Alistair and kind of starts off their Invoked Engine, gets rid of our core, which really hurts because we can't banish to special summon, a Cyber Dragon monster from deck, and attacks us with 5,000. And he gets to set another Conquistador to end his turn. So I do Kaiju, and I get the Hertz effect and add the Cyber Dragon, but the Anima gets met with another Conquistador, of course. Really, there wasn't much for me to do here, so I do just scoop. And on to game 2, we are going second again. And we have a pretty good hand. Our opponent is going to start the Dogmatica part now with Nadir Servant, but we do Asher, and our opponent gammas, or at least tries to gamma. And I basically said, I'll gamma your gamma. And we do get to resolve our Ash. And our opponent passes turn there. That can really end their turn. And so we have a pretty good hand, although it does get met with the Veiler on the core, which hurts. I was hoping it would be just kind of Ash at best, so we can still use the machine dupe, but it's okay. When it gets hit by an effect negation, I like to just bring out 1 core. That way I can kind of send the 3rd core and the Hertz with Rampage and get that 3rd one to hand, because you have to banish the 2 cores in this instance. So we're going to send Hertz and core, add the core back to hand, and kind of attack. It's not going to be game, but kind of get it close to finishing him off. So we tag 3 times, and our opponent has 1200 left, and let's see what he does. He does have the Golden Lord, and gets rid of our Rampage. Sets and special summons the Golden Boy with 3500 attack, and goes over the Anaconda. And our opponent will just set the Sanguine and pass turn. But we do have the Ash, so we're really good here. Now we can go into Infinity and everything, but we're just going to keep it simple and just search the Repair Plant, Kaiju, and go for Fortress, and then attack for game. So just plop it on there, Contact Fuse, And here, I just pretty much ash the moment I see it. And our opponent knows that's game. Okay, on to game 3. And he chooses to go first. So, going to lead off with the terraforming and kind of start the invoke play. Our hand, we don't have any form of interruption, so we're just watching him go off at this point. Meltdown adds Valor by accident, be pretty busted, but he does fix that and gets the Alistair. And gets the invocation. And does the typical play to bring out the Mechaba. And adds the Alistair back to hand. And now has the Eldritch part. Adds the Conquistador. And sets 2. Okay, so still no interruptions, but at least we hard draw the Cyber Dragon, so we can just kind of get rid of Mechaba pretty easily with Fortress. And then we summon the Naxxter and bring back the Cyber Dragon. Now we're locked in 2 machines, and the machine dude gets met with an Ash. But we have a backup because we can send the Hertz with Foolish, add the Cyber Dragon, and then Galaxy Soldier, so that way we have a Nova Infinity play. And I realized here I actually forgot to add the Soldier for some reason, but that's weird. And then I use Nova's effect to bring it back. And then here, it's kind of weird. I mean, I could have gone into Seeger, but he had the Conquistador, so I didn't really want to invest in it. And technically on its own, this is can be game because Nova can pump itself. But he just uses the Conquistador and doesn't have Scarlet Sanguine, I suppose. So I do use Nova's effect here for now and pump it up. And then now I just go into Infinity and into Seeger just in case and set the overflow and pass. So our opponent does use Alistair, and that we try to negate with Infinity, but I guess that set card was the Imperm. So, well, so he's gonna go into Mechaba and attack. So here, my plan was, okay, so I'm going to use Overflow, bait it out, and if he negates with the Mechaba, then I can use Seeger to pump Infinity, and it would be at 4200 because Infinity's at 2100 right now because it was hit by Imperm. And now at the time, my math in my head quickly, I thought this would have been game, but I still would have been 100 short. But basically, what I thought would happen happens. He does try to negate with Mechaba, and I try to pump with Seeger. But he uses the Alistair to pump it to 35, but then he has another one and he pumps it to 45, so did not go as I planned. And I do the math wrong here. I should have taken 300 instead of 200, but it's okay, it didn't actually make a difference by the end. And our opponent is going to set the Conquistador and Sanguine. So he has a pretty good setup, but we draw an incredible top deck. And then so now I do use the Emergency and add the Naxxter. And then I use Naxxter to bring back Nova. And here I ask him if he has anything, because if he pops, you know, if he wants to pop before I go into Infinity, for example. And this is why I like playing 2 Infinities, because now I can get Infinity out with a material to have a negate. And, you know, if my opponent, so here I'm trying to suck up the Mechaba and I just negate the Sanguine. So here, you know, if my opponent had popped the Nova instead, I still would have gotten out Rampage and it would have been game either way. So it kind of forces your opponent in this really tough situation. And so we just attack the Conquistador and then attack with Infinity for game. And our opponent concedes there. Okay, so on to our second replay. Now this one took a bit for me to realize what deck I was even playing against, but it was definitely an interesting build. So we are going second. Our opponent is going to lead off with Girsu, so I'm like, okay, is it Orcus? And I do Ash here, and then I see Nadir Servant, I'm like, okay, Dogmatica Orcus. And so he's going to send the Apkalone and kind of send the Schism, and then brings out the Maximus and forces us to send 2 cards from our extra deck, and we send the Nova. And here I just decide to send the I decide to send the Lambda because I don't go into it that often. And so this is where having the Mechaba in the extra deck comes really clutch. So we do get to bring it out, And our opponent passes turn with the set 3, and they're going to try to use Ash Dragon's effect at the end phase, but we do negate it with Mechaba and start our turn. So we have a pretty good hand. Start with the emergency and add the hurts. We're going to normal summon Core and try to use its effect. Our opponent will use Schism to bring out the Winda, and he brings out the Winda in the extra monster zone. So I was really confused by that, because now it's like super easy for us to get rid of it with Mega Fleet. And now we try to use Repair Plan, and then now we see the Generator card. So now I see why he put Winda in the extra monster zone. He was probably just used to doing that because, you know, you want to summon out as many tokens as possible, but again, Cyber Dragons putting Winda in the extra monster zone, not really a great idea. So he does get the boss stage. We also get to draw, and we draw the Gamma. Too bad we got rid of the Lambda earlier. And so he does get to use the field spell and bring out the guy that banishes, and also produce 3 tokens in attack mode at 1500 attack each. So we are going to start off with Galaxy Soldier and bring out the Cyber Dragon and the other soldier, and just kind of try to go into our Nova Infinity play. So here, opponent does try to banish, but I do use Mechaba's effect, and this is where Mechaba is coming really clutch. And now we use Nova's effect, bring it back, and we're kind of trying to do math here to try to kill. We do have enough extenders. We go into Infinity, and we do have the rest system. So now we can go into Anaconda, and then Seeger. Remember, if you use Anaconda's effect, then you can't special summon afterwards, so make sure to bring out the Seeger before you use Anaconda's effect if you were kind of doing this route. So now we do send the Overload Fusion, send, or banish rather, 3 Cyber Dragons so we can pop all of their spell traps. And then now we can kind of send 2 and try to start attacking for game, pump it up with Seeger. The token is at 1500, so attack with Infinity, and then attack 2 more times with Rampage. Our opponent here thought that he doesn't take damage with Seeger, or he thought he didn't take damage with Rampage, but it gets confused a lot by opponents. It's just only Seeger that you don't take damage from. You're still going to take damage from Rampage, obviously. That's kind of the win condition. So we are forced to go first for game 2, but good thing we didn't draw any interruptions anyway, so we're just kind of searching our overflow and go into our Infinity, and we hard drew the soldier, so that kind of works. And just our bread and butter Nova Infinity, that's her 5th summon, and Almirage, and we set the overflow. Opponent tries to Nibiru here. I thought it was kind of bait, and I was probably going to get met with like a Gamma or something, but looks like that was it. So, well, that didn't really do anything. So we are going to negate the spell, and then Gearsu does send. But here I do use the overflow because, you know, once he gets the token, like does the Link Caribou, goes into Ib, the World Key Blade Master, it kind of just snowballs, so I just pop it right from the beginning. And it looks like that kind of ends his turn, and we do just get the core, and, well, really, keep it simple, just go into Anaconda, bring out the Rampage, pop whatever that back row is, nothing to worry about at this point, and proceed to attack for game. And it was definitely an interesting build. I really like generators. I think it's a really fun rogue deck, so yeah, check it out if you haven't played against it. Alright guys, on to our final replay. Now this one is actually a slightly older replay, so it does use my previous deck list, but it's against Endymion Pendulums, which is always an interesting matchup, so I thought I'd bring a replay video for this one as well, just to show how it goes. So opponent is going to start off with the Abductor and use Chronograph, bring the Time Gazer, and use the Magician's Restage. And now Abductor has 3 counters, so he can remove it and add the Souls to hand. And then Souls will dump the Mighty Master, and then they also have the right hand. And Servant will have 3 counters and now bring out the Jackal King. And he's just gonna use Restage to bring back the Souls, and then Souls can get rid of the Restage and draw 1. Really good synergy with that deck. And then use Crowley gets to add a random of the 3 cards. And as a gesture confit, and goes into Saryuja and draws 4, puts back 3, and so now he has his full scales and kinda does his pen summon. So looks like we're going into Selene, use its effect, bring back Mighty Master from the graveyard that was dumped from the souls, and then goes into Appaloosa and passes. Okay, so we're going to lead off with a Cyclone because it's just gonna get negated with the right hand, and that was our most expendable spell. So this is where hard drawing Cyber Dragon also helps out when your opponent has an Appaloosa, because it's just a free way to get rid of it using Mega Fleet. And then we're just gonna attack over the Mighty Master first, because we can deal with monster effect negation with our hand, just not another spell trap removal, or spell trap negate rather. So we're going to Foolish Core so that we can add it back when Hertz goes to grave, but to be honest with you, there was no need for that because I could have just gone into Rampage and added the core back that way. So we are going to go into Infinity. Our opponent will try to negate, but we can negate his negate and just destroy it. And then here we can just go into Anaconda, and we're using the Hertz effect to get the core. And he just kind of concedes because I can just pop his back row and everything. So we are going game 2, and he is going first again. So he has the instant fusion and gets at the Millennium Eye, so now our Ash is dead. So we're just kind of spectating here at this point, and our opponent is just free to go off. So our opponent uses the Servant and brings out the Jackal King. So Nibiru save here as well, not that we have it. Magician's Souls, really good synergy. And then Chronograph to Time Gazer. Then the Upstart. And now he has the 2 scales to bring out the Chrono. And then looks like we're going to Selene and then use her effect and to bring back the Reflector. Now Mighty Master will get rid of 6 counters and pop the Servant, put it back into scale, going into Vortex now, and then probably Cross Sheep, yep. And now Odd Eyes Vortex, and then brings back Millennium Eyes with Cross Sheep, and then Selene. Again, not a hard once per turn, so we can bring back the Mighty Master and pass turn here. So our hand is not looking that good to try to get rid of it. We're just gonna start off with the Mega Fleet and just crash into Jackal King. And then here we use the Emergency, and we're just trying to bait out some stuff, try to use Naxxus effect. That gets negated by Odd Eyes Vortex, and we do summon the core. And we try to see if the repair plan goes through to get the Kaiju, but of course, just gets bounced back and negated. Okay, so on to game 3. We are going second again and hope that it works out better. We don't draw any hand traps, so I guess we're just kind of watching our opponent go off again. So he's gonna lead off with the Lure, Servant, set 2, ooh, Blind Allure, but he does manage to get a Dark Monster. Okay, 2 restage, has the Servant, can now resolve it, brings out the Jackal King, and gets the Crowley to add a Spellbook card. And looks like he got the Spellbook, which was probably the worst one to get because now he has to sacrifice his ink, but he does draw Magician's Soul, so that really works out for him. He can send the Mighty Master and then go into Anima, use Restage, bring it back, send the Restage to draw. Oh, I guess not yet. Go into the Link 2 first and then use the second Restage to bring it back, then draw 2. Looks like he already has the right hand if he didn't add up the destroyed Restage, and has the Reflector, and now uses Desires, pretty much drawing into his whole deck at this point. And then uses Selene, brings back the Mighty Master he sent with Souls, and now he has the Scale and Pen Summons. And looks like we are going into Saryuja again. Draw some even more. Put back 3. Upstart. Droll would have been useful here. And allure again. And here is that right hand that he probably hard drew. Okay, so we are going to start with the Foolish. I thought he was just going to let right hand negate it, but it looks like he actually uses Mighty Master. Okay, so here we're going to Kaiju the Jackal King because he already used the Mighty Master. And then I'm going to search Repair Plant with the core. And we're going to go into Mega Fleet. And then Repair Plant now gets negated with the right hand, but it's okay because we have the we hard drew the soldier, so we just add the Hertz now and go into our Nova Infinity play. Okay, so we just summon that out, use Nova's effect, bring out the Cyber Dragon, Infinity, suck up the Jizukuru, and now we can go into Anaconda, destroy his scale and the right hand. And then we're gonna just send 2 and start attacking over it. I negate the Mighty Master's effect with Infinity. And we're gonna attack 2 more times with Rampage. And then with Anaconda and Infinity, leaving it at pretty low life. So we pass turn, and our opponent does have a skill and uses Restage to try to bring back souls. I just negate it here, and he tries to use his Zars, but he only has 6 cards left in his deck, so I guess that's that, and he does concede. Alright guys, so that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed the replay video. Let me know what you thought about it, and if you do really like these kind of videos, I will gladly make more. And if you liked what you saw, consider subscribing and liking the video. Take care guys.